Welcome to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Lori Anne Casdia. Our goal here at Healthy Lifestyle is to inspire, educate, and empower you to fulfill a healthy, emotional, spiritual, and physical life so you can feel empowered to live the life you have always wanted and dreamed. It is a beautiful, glorious day. Well, it always is to me anyway. So I hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful day. And I think you're going to really enjoy our guest today. So today we have on Ellen Whealton. She is a transpersonal and board-certified music therapist, a workshop presenter and educator who uses numerous alternative modalities in her practice, as do I. She experienced near-death experience at age 12 and experienced a tremendous spiritual lesson and was drawn back to her body by music. This event gave Ellen firsthand knowledge of the immense web of love and support that is available to us at all times. I totally agree with that. I'm so excited to speak to her today. I'm having a hard time getting through the entry. So Ellen is trained in the Bonny method of guided imagery and music, the Holotropic Breathwork, Reiki, and various forms of Aroma-Release. She is also an instructor for online courses that presents CEUs for music therapists and counseling psychologists around the globe. And Ellen, my dear, dear Ellen, is a leader with Young Living Essential Oils. That's where we met, focusing on the science behind why and how they work in the body and the spiritual uses for the oils. And she has an in-depth education Facebook group called Music Therapy and Essential Oils. And I really do recommend, if you get a chance, you need to jump on Facebook and go into her Music Therapy Essential Oils. It's at Music Therapy Essential Oils. Ellen, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
So glad to have you. I'm so excited because not only do I use multiple modalities when I'm mentoring, but also both of my parents were musicians and educators. And so I have been surrounded by music since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Also, as you know, I'm a singer. So it's just so exciting to talk to you and learn more about what you do as a music therapist. But the first question is this near-death experience. Tell us about that.
Yes, I'm happy to, because that's what started it all for me. And you're right, music is a powerful tool. I discovered that firsthand because I was kicked in the head by a horse when I was 12. I was in a coma for just about a week. And my parents were asked to play things at my bedside to inspire me or engage the brain in some way. And they were playing home movies for so long. And on the last day, my dad played a Disney movie that was about 90% classical music. And that is how I experienced my near-death experience. And I remember vividly being taken to the other side and having a beautiful connection to Source, and then choosing to come back and use music for healing. And then I woke from the coma to that music.
You actually recall all of that?
So I remember my near-death experience more vividly than any memory that I have had in my life. It still guides and supports my life in every way. And I don't remember any memories really from before that. And I remember the neurologist telling me that I would regain memory, but I never really did. It's like my life started at that near-death experience.
Oh, that's just totally amazing. I can't even imagine what that was like. I have so many questions. I don't know where to start. So you were brought back. Did you hear the music that was being played? I have to believe it was one of the classic Disney movies that was being played, like Fantasia, because they have a lot of classical music in that.
Well, yeah, it was actually, and I didn't tell people this at the beginning. It was actually Sleeping Beauty. And it was Tchaikovsky. And, you know, the entire movie, Sleeping Beauty, was created out of the Sleeping Beauty opera, or it was a ballet. So it was predominantly music. There's not a lot of speaking within the movie. And I woke up to the credits, and yes, I vividly remember after receiving the messages and reconnecting with the light on the other side, I had a whole conversation with Jesus and Buddha who were there with me, but, you know, kind of going backwards. But yes, I woke to the music. I remember moving out of that moment of being connected to light and receiving the messages that they had for me into this place of darkness. And in this place of darkness, I could see a music staff in the distance, and it was very small, and each note was a different color on the staff. I couldn't hear anything, but I could see it. And I watched the music moving on the staff and the notes changing, and then it just got bigger and bigger, and then finally it felt like I went through this staff of music, and I could hear the music. It went dark, and I felt little, and it's like a little pinprick of light on the bottom, kind of right, way far away, and it was almost inaudible, this music. I had to focus every single ounce of my attention. Every part of my being went to that music, and I drew it closer and closer to me until finally the music had gone from almost inaudible, where I wasn't sure if I heard it, being so loud it was booming in my head, and then I opened my eyes and I was in the ICU. I lost all of the sound. The sound went away, as if only one sense could work at a time. And I saw the corner TV of the ICU bed, near me, and the nurse came over, and then I slipped back out of consciousness. But at that point, I was out of the coma and was able to kind of wake from the coma. It was definitely from the music.
Oh my God, that is just amazing. And the irony of it being Sleeping Beauty.
I know.
That's
one of my favorite childhood movies.
Yeah, it's so ironic that it was Sleeping Beauty when you were in a coma. So that is just amazing, and that you saw music in your future. And so tell us, between then and now, what transpired? How did you get into music therapy? Obviously, this has been your destiny. Take us on that ride.
Sure. And I'd like to share, if I can, a little bit more about the near-death experience itself.
Please.
Because that leads right into why I chose to heal people with music. So in the darkness of the coma, there was really nothing. But at some point, I was taken to a raft. And the raft was floating on this, what I would describe as a pink cloud. And one bank of the river, kind of, it was like a pink river cloud. And on one bank was heaven, and one bank was what represented the unknown. And I was there on the raft, and in front of me was who I recognized to be Jesus, because as I grew up, that was the faith of my parents. And on the left of me was a man who was young and bald and thin and had robes that went down to his feet. And I didn't know at the time who he was, but I learned later, because it all came full circle, that he was Buddha. And from this place, they communicated, or Jesus communicated with me through thought. And I remember at one moment feeling very safe on this raft, very safe and loved, absolutely loved. And then I was taken to a place of light. And I remember when I first got to the place of light, I could see colors and life, trees, and hear music that I'd never heard before, and colors that I'd never seen before. I didn't see people, but I felt a sense of other energies that were there that were completely loving and connected. And it was in this place that I first experienced that, and quickly felt this feeling of love surrounding my entire body. I didn't have my body as I know it now, or as I knew it then, but my energetic body was wrapped in love, and it was so warm, and it was heavy and weighted and beautiful. And in that place, I went from feeling it to actually melting into the love, to becoming the love. And then there was nothing. Nothing mattered on earth, none of the things that I had worried about. I was just love. I was absolute pure love. And I was no different than source energy. And from that place, I was taken back to the raft, and I was given a choice. I could either stay, or I could come back to earth and live my life. And I remember being given so much insight about my family's path and how it would affect them if I chose to stay. But I was also told that it would be okay either way. I could choose whichever I wanted, and everything would be fine. And at one moment, I made the choice to come back, and I just fell to my knees, kind of in gratitude. It's the best I can describe it. My heart was just open and expansive and full of gratitude, and I can even feel it now. I can feel this expansive gratitude for getting to live, for getting to come back here and live in abundance and purpose on this earth was the biggest gift that I could ever receive. And so I chose to come back. And I was given all of these messages within that time it's like I received a lifetime of messages in 5 seconds, about how we are all meant to be here for a reason and a million other things. I could go on forever, but no, I chose in that moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
To come back and
to come back.
To remember that is amazing, because usually, we don't have the capacity here that I understand we have a capacity when we're in that energetic form. And to choose to come back, that was amazing in and of itself.
Yeah. So I remember in that moment promising to give gratitude every night for getting to come back and for being here, and then also promising to heal people through music. And that was kind of where I was going with that I chose at that moment to heal people with music. I knew my purpose. And then I woke up and knew it from the moment I woke up, and I was only 12. I didn't know there was a thing called music therapy. And then I threw myself into music in my recovery, and eventually was led into psychology with a dual master's in music therapy. And that at Naropa, which is a Buddhist university, is when I recognized Buddha in a painting. One of the first weeks that I was there.
Naropa in Colorado?
Mm-hmm, in Boulder.
Boulder, Colorado. Yeah, sure. Sure. And so you noticed him there, and that's where you put two and two together, and still again, remembering very vividly what transpired.
Oh, absolutely. That experience led me in every part of my life from therefore, like moving on, it was everything. And when I went to Naropa, I saw a depiction of Buddha on the wall, that he was young and thin and had brown robes on, I think, was bald. He was different than the bigger Buddha that we see today. But I recognized him then and realized, okay, I'm on the right path. This is where I was meant to be. This is where I was meant to learn more about presence and present moment, contemplative psychology. And it was really another moment of transformation for me to be there.
I can't even, find the words, because it's hard to understand what a gift it was for you to be able to retain that information, because usually it's just so overwhelming that it pops out. I know throughout my life, every once in a while, I'll have this answer that'll come to me, and if I just get distracted ever so little, poof, it goes away, never to be seen again. So it's almost like, okay, she's not ready yet. And so for you to be that ready, to be able to get that kind of information, retain that information, and then apply it is just amazing to me, because you are just an amazing human, one of the most amazing humans I've met in a long time. So help us understand what the Bonny method of guided imagery and music is.
Oh, that's so interesting. I was introduced to that at Naropa, and it's a very deeply transformative process where you're taken through music that helps you journey to meet your higher self, or to even communicate with source or loved one, just receive the information that you need. When I went through that method for the first time, I was connected to that place again where I went, the place of light, what I call heaven. And there's no other experience on earth that I found that can take me there like the Bonny method can. And I remember the moment I experienced it in school, I knew I was meant to do that, because one thing I did know from the many messages that I received on that raft is that my job was to use music and frequency to help people connect to source energy, to connect to heaven. And my work has been 100% built around that. So whatever modality I can find to get people there, that's what I do. That's why I use the crystal bowls, because they're so high frequency. That's why I use the oils that I use. That's why I do the Bonny method and visualization, guided imagery, Reiki, lots of energy work that I bring in to help take people to that space.
Oh, that's so cool. So the crystal bowls, I'm really intrigued by that. I'm intrigued by the different tones that they have, the different megahertz that they ring at. So talk a little bit about the crystal bowls, because I saw your set because we were on a Zoom together, and they're magnificent. Yeah. But talk to me about crystal bowls and how that helps in doing that kind of therapy.
From a therapeutic standpoint, it's much easier for people to reach a state of connection to source if they first move through the body experience. So the bowls bring resonance and somatic experiencing to people. They help them move into the body and the breath, because a lot of times it comes to the breath. And I use them as a tool to get there. But they're also made of crystal, which is a natural element. They're high frequency. They're tuned to a higher frequency. And each pitch is tuned to a different body energy source. So, we have kind of energy centers anywhere from between the base of our spine all the way up through the top of the head and beyond, right? You can feel the resonance, and it helps people to move into a deeper state of awareness. And I just love them. Again, every bit of modality that I use in my practice has come through a personal experience and also a question. Does it connect to my near-death experience? And if it doesn't, I don't use it. But if in some way I'm connected to source through a practice like this, I bring it into my practice, which I think is why my practice is so eclectic and different, because I use so many different modalities.
Yeah. No, I totally resonate with that, because so do I. I mean, I utilize Kundalini yoga for meditation. I use yoga. I use essential oils like you. I use herbs. I use, a variety of both what I would look at as conventional and unconventional. And unconventional for me is using more Eastern medicine or Eastern therapies, more meditative, vibrational energy type processes to get people to build habits that work for them so that they can soar to success. So I understand utilizing the different methods, because some people, do you find that some people react better to certain methods as opposed to others, or it helps them guide through faster?
No, not really.
Okay.
In the past 10 years, I've noticed that people tend to move very quickly. When I added essential oils to my practice, I will say my clients started moving more quickly into deeper states. They started to be more higher, feel more highly connected to source. Mm-hmm. They had higher vibrations, higher frequency. Shifts were happening quicker within the session. So rather than taking 2 or 3 sessions with me, things would happen on the first meeting. And I think the goal here, and kind of what you're speaking to as well, is that we live so much of our lives in our mind, and our thoughts create our reality. But whatever we can do and however we can work to move out of the mind, to connect and trust and surrender to source, that's when we really see shifts in our experience. And I hate to say it, but the mind can trick us. We can believe things that we're telling ourselves because we believe ourselves to know it all, without even recognizing it. We're giving ourselves time and energy towards negative thinking, and that creates our experience. So on the raft, that was one thing that I learned, is that we need to be very diligent about releasing negative thoughts and only allowing in that which is positive and constructive and helpful. And so from the moment I woke out of the coma, I remember anytime I would have a negative thought, I would throw it out the window, or I'd imagine it going into a fire. But the great thing about these practices is that it gives you an experience of moving outside of the mind for a long period of time, and then your mind is more anchored with source moving forward.
Sure. Yeah. No. That all absolutely resonates. What I was getting to before was that I utilize different modalities depending on the individual and how open they are to it to guide them through the process. So it seems like you do the same thing but the elevation of the essential oils, absolutely. I've experienced that does expedite the vibrational growth, if you would. Mm-hmm. If you will. But yeah, getting outside of the mind, isn't it interesting that we're brought up to question things and to just not trust, and for a variety of reasons. And yet that's the very thing that we need to do, is to get outside of our mind. Those people who overthink, like myself, have to get out of the mind and have to release and just go with the flow. So to me, my biggest growth is going with the flow and being able to say, okay, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do, no matter what I thought I was supposed to do, and just go with it. So I just find your whole process interesting. So do you take people through that that process? You take them through the Bonny method?
I do. I use elements of it in my practice, and then elements of transpersonal psychology, which is a force of psychology similar to humanistic and existential. It's rooted in a lot of work by Carl Jung with the archetypes.
Sure.
And so I use that training, that transpersonal training, as well as guided imagery and music and elements of the Bonny method, combining it with some of the frequency work that I do as well, to bring it in all as a collective unit.
Understood.
And to help people, yeah.
And I want to continue this conversation. We need to take a little break. You are listening to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. We're going to continue this conversation, very intriguing conversation with Ellen, right after the break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Healthy Lifestyle with Lori Anne. I am Lori Anne. And if you have any questions or comments or ideas you'd like to hear more about, please email us at healthylifestylewithLA, or you can follow us on social media at Healthy Lifestyle with LA, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, we're there. Feel free to just reach out to us. We're, of course, live streaming on Facebook right now. Ellen is actually calling in from California. God bless her. And we're having this wonderful conversation about how she had a near-death experience and came back and is really sharing a lot of things. And we were just talking about how we really need to get outside of our mind, and a lot of our limitations are because we're too much in our heads. And I find that people who have been awakened really are living in a positive world and just taking it as it goes and navigating along the way. Ellen, what would you think? What do you say to that as far as the fact of coming outside of our mind and trusting where Source wants us to go?
Oh, I think it's everything. I remember there when I was on the raft, I remember clearly. I remember things that you knew, but they've been there all along, and you're reminded. And the biggest thing was that what we worry about on Earth doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that because I don't want to minimize anything anyone's going through, but the things that we put in our minds, the things we tell ourselves, really distract us from our purpose and our source, our authentic reason for being here.
Yeah.
And that was another message. We all have a purpose. But back to the mind, we really believe what we tell ourselves. And there's a way that we can move out of this into helping the mind create what we want.
Do you have any tools to help us do that?
Yeah, I do. Actually, one of my favorite things is to practice releasing to Source through questions that I ask daily. And these, I believe, were originally brought forth by Marianne Williamson in
Sure.
the Course in Miracles. Yeah. And they are, where would you have me go? What would you have me do? What would you have me say, and to whom? I practice these questions twice a day with oils, and I put them on my bedside table. I use valor on my feet, and I ask, where would you have me go? I use joy in my heart. What would you have me do?
Hold on. Let's slow down. So where would you have me go? You use valor on your feet. What would you have me do?
I use joy on my heart.
Joy on your heart. Oh, I love joy.
Mm-hmm. I use inner harmony on my wrist and my throat and ask, what would you have me say? A lot of people can't find that one because it's in the Freedom collection, but I use harmony as an alternative.
Inner harmony and what?
Or harmony. Inner harmony or harmony.
Or harmony. Yeah, I have harmony. And I actually got it accidentally because I saw harmony and I was like, oh, mom and dad. So what would you have me say?
Mm-hmm. And then on the top of my head and the back of my head, I put divine release is my favorite. And I ask, and to whom? So what would you have me say, and to whom? And if you don't have divine release, which again is in the Freedom collection,
mm-hmm.
you can use release or surrender or higher unity. And asking these questions twice a day it really changed my life spiritually, brought me into an entire level. So now I'm able to share my story. I'm able to make a difference. I do spiritual coaching now. I connect more with Source. You know, that's a big part of my work. When I am in that space with a client or a group, the music allows me to tap into that place where I was, and I often see and will experience messages and light beings and see them surrounding people. It's really beautiful and such a gift. And a lot of near-death experiencers will have this phenomenon where we come back with beings of light, and we have this gift of being able to tap in. And I feel so blessed and thankful for that.
Oh my gosh, it's a miracle. It really is to be able to do that and have that feeling. Because when you get that connection, and it's funny because music resonates with me too. I am my happiest. I can't think of a better thing to do other than my two boys. I can't think of a better thing to do than when I'm singing, because it just feels like sheer joy, no matter what the music is. The emotions that you feel and through the vibration of the music is just so healing in and of itself. So, and I find that if I'm in not a great mood and I go serve other people, and I'll sing a song to myself, not necessarily to other people. And when I do that, I always feel like I'm floating on a cloud. So there is definitely some kind of connection there that I've always wondered what it was, but it always, to me, it was a connection to my parents who have both passed, but also it's always a place and a source of pure joy for me. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does actually, because I've received the message many times, both in that place and then after, that music is a practice of gratitude. And one of the most powerful things that we can do right now as we're living in our purpose or wanting to find our purpose or wanting to move into a more spiritual plane is to practice gratitude. Because in a place of gratitude, there's nothing else. There's no room for fear. There's no room for doubt. You really are connected to Source in an absolute way. And so joy can come through.
Yeah. And
it's really a beautiful practice.
It really is. And especially our listeners here on Healthy Lifestyle, I speak about this all the time. It is impossible, and I want you to try it. It is impossible to be grateful, fearful, or angry at the same time. You cannot do it. It's not even possible. So to have that gratitude, and I love that music is a practice of gratitude, to have that gratitude, it makes life better. That's why I start my day with writing 10 things I'm grateful for. Every single day I start with that. That is one of my practices every morning, and always sets a really good tone for the whole entire day. And if I'm having a day, and sometimes it spirals, listen, you've had challenges in your life, right? Recently, especially. Mm-hmm. And we've all had challenges in our life, but you get through those challenges because that contrast reminds us and teaches us what we do want to do, and the positive things in our lives remind us how lucky we are, how fortunate we are, and also lets us know what we really want. And that's really what gets us into our avenue of finding out what our purpose is. And I know that's something I help people with as well, is to try to help people find their purpose and dive in and help them create these strong foundations so that they could be successful doing their purpose. Let's talk a little bit about your spiritual coaching. Talk to us about that.
Mm-hmm. Well, and just to kind of tap into what you were talking about as I move into the conversation about that, sometimes we have experiences in our lives that are unexpected and they feel devastating. And in reality, in hindsight, looking back, for me at least, because I was devastated last year when my ex asked for a separation, it was completely unexpected. We have 3 children. We've been together for 19 years. This practice of gratitude that we're speaking of, it actually took me in a place of recognizing that not only was I okay during this process of transition, but I was actually well guided, and I was going to be better for it. And in my spiritual coaching, I like to bring that in because, especially right now, people are searching for answers, and we have leveled up through this pandemic, believe it or not.
Without a doubt, we have.
Yeah, it has risen. The frequency of the planet is 3 times, 4 times higher now than it was before, because it's healed itself, because we've been inside. It can support a higher frequency person, a higher spiritual existence. So now people have been awakening to that. They've been recognizing what's truly important. And my spiritual coaching is all about that, to try and help people see the power that they have, because it's really not about me as a practitioner. I can't give people the answer because it is something that they hold. We each hold our own wisdom, and it's connecting to our own higher self and source that we need to find that. So I'm just a catalyst. I have this experience that I was gifted with that everyone can tap into.
Sure.
Everyone has this potential to connect to source. And if I can help someone learn to do that and they can move away and start their own practice with their own authentic journey, that is success to me.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're here to do, is we're here to help one another through the process. And these challenges that are set forth in our lives, and they do strike us a little bit off guard. I have found every time, the larger the challenge, the larger the growth potential. It's just about choice and choosing to accept the growth potential. And it's not always an easy, actually I should say it's never an easy transition, but it's always the best. And universe will keep in there until you learn that. Sometimes it takes years and sometimes it takes seconds. It just depends on where you are in accepting those differences. Wouldn't you say?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some of the most powerful experiences of our lives, if you think back, I love this kind of thought process. If you think back to the most powerfully transformative experiences in your life, likely there was a challenge before you got there. Maybe it was the birth of a child. Maybe it was marriage. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was jumping out of a plane. It didn't come without some type of fear, right? Or some type of unknown. But always we look back and it is transformative and it's beautiful. We had to go through that. And so my goal is to help people shift their perception, because they can label their thoughts one way and it could be something else. Fear feels very similar to excitement in the body, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
You change your language around fear in an experience, you can change the way you see an experience in your life.
It's just an anticipation of the unknown. That's what fear is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that shift of perception and not making it so devastating, and it's not an end all be all. And we have opportunities in fear. There's opportunity in everything. In any negative feeling, there's an opportunity to feel the positive of it, is to see the positive in it, and there always is. You just have to look beyond what you're comfortable with. So that's part of the spiritual coaching, I'm sure, as well.
Really? Yeah, perception is everything.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Everything. And sometimes it takes moving back from a situation or taking it even further by connecting to higher self through a transformative experience like the bowls or visualization or imagery or something else.
I love this. I love anything that's energy work. It's very exciting to me. So, Ellen, I think we might know what your why is, but I'd love you to articulate. So what's your why? Why do you do what you do?
Well, overall, I do what I do because I want to help people connect to source, to their higher self. My goal is to be that catalyst so people can recognize that they have power over their own existence. They can create what they want through their thoughts. My goal is to just allow people to connect to heaven like I did.
That's a beautiful goal. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful goal.
Yeah.
So what would you say to our listeners, if you can right now, say anything you'd like to say that would help lift them up and enlighten them, maybe help them take those first steps, which are always safe, but maybe a little trepidatious? What would you say?
I always go back to my near-death experience for this because I can't say it as well as I received it. And it is that you are here for a purpose. You're here for a reason. Everyone has a purpose on this planet. You are sacred. There's no one like you. You are meant to be here at this time. You can help so many. You can help yourself. You can create what you want in the world. You are the creator. You are your own best guide. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Devastatingly beautiful. Couldn't say it any better. So, and thank you for that. That was very touching. So let's talk about valor and joy and inner harmony and release and surrender. All of those are part of young living. It's an essential oil, and if you're not familiar with essential oils, they're all natural. They're made from plants, and they're actually I'm trying to think of the word for it when it goes into the it's not diffused, but it's a different word. I'm just at a loss for words right now. You really caught me off guard. Very few people catch me, stop me from talking. That's for sure. But it's definitely you use the evaporation as the water comes up, and then they take the oils from there, the essence of the oils. So you love Young Living, as do I. I think they're really high quality. Tell us your favorite scents and why how you got into Young Living.
Well, I'm so passionate about Young Living. I had no idea that there was anything I could be as passionate about as music until I was introduced to Young Living. I live with Lyme disease, and it was just part of my healing that these oils came into my life, and I used it for physical support at first, and then I noticed that my clients were seeing more angels when I put Angelica on my hands, and I didn't even tell them I had Angelica on. So I recognized that there was a spiritual element. I started to learn about them. I learned that they're the highest frequency natural substance on the planet. Even the way that they're distilled, the steam distillation
That's it,
that you
distilled.
think about it actually maintains the integrity and the constituents of the oils like no other company can. Trust me, I have called and tried all companies. And so the frequency that they hold in our body, when we put them on our body, our frequency will actually raise. And I'm just in love with these oils. I mean, I'm so passionate. They do so much for everyone, and that's why I run the group. I do work with medical professionals in training them how to use these in the body, but my connection with them is spiritual. My favorite smells are, I love the Freedom Sleep Collection. I know it sounds strange, but energetically, this was created for soldiers who had undergone trauma, and it's a very specialized kit. And I tried it on a whim, thinking maybe I had some past trauma from my head injury that I needed to release. And the kit changed my life. I buy that collection every time I run out. It lasts for 3 months. It comes with 9 oils. Those are my favorites. If I were to pick one favorite, it would be Divine Release, which only comes in that kit. But I love every oil. I'm bathed in oils all day, every day. I use them next to me.
Me too. I know. My favorite is Raven. Oh my God, that's my most recent favorite. My favorite changes all the time. That's your boyfriend's favorite?
Loves Raven and Believe. Believe is his favorite.
Yeah, I love Believe too. It smells really good. Joy is another one. Oh my God, there are just so many of them, and that's what I was looking for. Distilled, that they have such a great process. And the other thing that was in alignment with me, and I would say would be in alignment with you too, is how they do it. As far as taking care of the farms, they don't strip anything. They really they select certain farms that are exclusive for them, because they want to make sure that it's of the same quality, of the best quality, right?
Right. So the farms, they own the farms. They control every bit of the process. Many of our competitors, even our closest competitor, will ship their oils out for distillation. They'll distill multiple times for a sweeter smelling oil, but that, of course, changes the constituents. They don't work as well in the body.
Right.
And the farms are, because they're owned by Young Living, and they're old, they've had these farms for 20 years, they've likely never touched a chemical. So, the USDA for organic labeling asks that a farm not have chemicals for 30 years. I think that's the standard. But Young Living is 3 times that for their requirements. And many times they use farms in partnership with Native American reservations and nations so that they know the land has never had a chemical.
Right.
It's really beautiful. They even say prayers before they plant some of the plants, especially the Hawaiian sandalwood farm.
Yes,
the Hawaiian people partner with Young Living, and they say a prayer every time they plant. And the prayer is, "You live, so we live." It's just this homage to nature and how we work in collaboration with nature. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I am real quick. I have because I'm part Native American. I have a philosophy that Native Americans have, and they basically teach people like how to interact with other people. They teach their children. They say if you stand in a circle surrounded by people, and you swing a whip over your head. As soon as the tip of that whip touches somebody else, you're responsible for how you interact with their lives. So now you're responsible for their lives. I think that's a beautiful thing because they're very, very conscious of how we interact both with the earth and each other. So I appreciate the culture, as well as the Hawaiian culture has a lot of similarities that are in alignment with the Native American. So, but it's a beautiful story.
Absolutely.
Ellen, I can't thank you enough.
I love the culture.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Well, I love multiple cultures because I always learn a little tidbit that hopefully makes me a better human, and their cultures are very responsible. But thank you so much for being on. You've shared so much with us. We'd love to have you back on again. I'm just getting killed with comments and text messages. Just really everybody's enjoying having you and the information that you're sharing. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's just an honor. I'm so excited to be here, and thank you to everyone. I'll be in touch. I'd love to come back on.
Love it. Well, thank you for joining us today on Healthy Lifestyle. You know, my heart is always lifted by sharing this time with you. And I know how precious time is, and that you choose to share it with us is such a gift to us as well. So I want to thank you again for joining us on Healthy Lifestyle. I am Lori Anne Casdia. Until next time, play a higher role, serve a higher purpose, show up for you, and show up big.